use Contour Power Grips? You should too. Buy Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of bowlers worldwide. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide.
Well, we're all set for our first match of the day. It's again a Baker format, a 2-game total pin match. And it features Asher's Embroidery and Team Dinothane. This is Barry Asher, the captain of Asher's Embroidery, to lead things off. High on the head pin, and he leaves the 3-6.
And not a difficult spare. Now he's not leaving. He's just went over to get another bowling ball. He'll be right back here. He's going to go cross lane at this, a lot of ball speed and a ball that won't hook. Barry doesn't waste any time up there.
2, he says, and it is. It's a spare for Asher's Embroidery. Boy, the lane conditions set up well, Earl. I think we're going to see some high scores.
I'm hoping we're going to see some good scores, and we've got some very talented players. We talked about that in the open. Guys like Danny Wiseman, Barry Asher, Hall of Famers, PBA champions. It should be some really good bowling, some good matches.
This is Guy Hulsenberg to lead off for Team Dinothane. Takes a straighter approach and starts off with a strike.
So you get all these superstars on one team or on another team, but you get 5 guys together like this team right here, and he gets that end over end roll right around the 12 board, gets it out to about 10, brings it back and hits them thin and watch them spin. But you get 5 guys that most people have never heard of right there in that row right there, and these guys are ready. They think they can beat anybody, and I'm not going to argue with them.
Now Billy Myers Jr., the left-hander. Good solid shot from Billy Myers.
That's the kind of shots that made him Rookie of the Year 2 years ago on the PBA Tour. He's an outstanding talent. Just has a lot of experience to gain yet. And once he gets that, he should be tough to beat. He's a good player.
I guess we should point out, as you look at Bob Worrell, that Asher's Embroidery really juggled their lineup before the start of this match.
Now, we don't know why. It was kind of a surprise to us. They came up and said, hey, we're going to change everything. And it was just before we went on the air, so we'll have to find out later maybe. There must have been a reason. Maybe during practice they found something on the lanes that they felt Billy Myers Jr. had been bowling anchor during match play. They moved him up in the lineup to second, and that was a major change. Must have felt the left side wasn't that good. And then he gets up there in the first shot and throws it flush in the pocket.
Bobby Worrell, a great collegiate bowler. In fact, the 81 Bowler's Journal Amateur of the Year. And now Mike Devaney.
See the players working their fingers into those bowling balls. They want to make sure they have a real good grip on that ball before they get it started.
Turn it, he said, and it did. Right into the pocket, a double for Asher's Embroidery.
Television experience always a benefit. And here's a young man that I'm sure hasn't had much right here, Dave.
Leo Di Benedetto. He's from Australia.
Sydney. I was talking to him earlier. He's bowling in the western region of the PBA right now and hopes to get enough experience from that to hopefully make a living as a professional bowler on the national tour.
Nice form. Nice shot. Yes, the 6 comes out of the channel to trip the 10.
He's throwing him like that. He's got a pretty good future, huh? Nice young man, too. Talking with him, and you see he's got a very classic style. Gets a good heavy end over end roll, and that's what keeps the pins low on the deck. A lot of the side turn won't do it, and his reaction is, hey, it's supposed to go. It was a good shot.
Now Tim Mack, great football player at Penn State.
And he brings that aggressiveness onto the lane, onto the approach. Watch Timmy Mack. He goes out after the pins. He's ready to kill him. He doesn't leave anything in the bag. Oh, boy.
He lucked out of getting that terrible 7-10 split on a pocket hit.
He looks at it a little different. He feels he was pretty unlucky he didn't strike. The
That's
ball
true.
just really hit hard. And Tim in the past, not recently, he's been very good in the last year or so, but in the past he did struggle for spares. And you see he's taking his time. He's switched balls. Tim will use as much of the lane as possible, stand way to the right, cross lane hard and straight at the 7. Look out. Oh, boy.
No problem, he said. Well, at his defensive secondary position, that would have been one where he just barely got a finger on it to knock it away from the receiver.
Yeah, he knows that I've made comments about his spare shooting in the past, so he looked up and said something to me. I didn't get exactly what it was, but something like, I made it anyway, Earl, or
Take that. Now Cliff Connors.
A little different release there, and he tried to do something that most of the players don't do anymore. You don't very often see a player try to what we call fluff the ball. Now, on that particular shot, he tried to quit on the shot after the point of the release, right here. He doesn't lift the ball. See it just kind of fall off his hand. Now, what he's trying to do there is get the ball to skid down the lane before it picks up a roll, and then he wants the surface of the ball, the reactive resin, to grip the lane and hit for him.
Goes it straight at the 3-pin to make the spare, and the old Dutch 200 on the way for Team Dinothane with 20-40-60 through the third and a spare showing.
Remember the fluff shot I just told you about? Watch Robert Smith throw this ball. This is not a fluff shot, folks. Watch the follow through on this. Rough.
Move. Rev it up.
Oh boy. He doesn't leave anything there either. Him and Timmy Mack, they can wear out your bowling center in a hurry the way they bowl. Here's another look at that release. Now, this gets all of it here. Now, he starts that in around the 4th arrow, gets it out to about the 8th board, and it doesn't hit much harder than that without doing a lot of damage to the back end back there.
93 U.S. amateur champion.
He got out his Cleary here to shoot the spare. See, remember when you played marbles, you had Clearys? There he is. He's got his Cleary.
It worked. Now the final bowler, Dave Bowles, bowling anchor for Team Dinothane.
Dave's always been a good pocket shooter. Generally keeps the ball in play very well, and there's a good way to start it.
Absolutely, but we've got a good start to this first match. An 8-pin lead for Asher's Embroidery.
Shuffle there.
Here is the Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Asher's Embroidery. We've already seen all these guys roll it. Barry Asher, the team captain, followed by Billy Myers Jr., Mike Devaney, Tim Mack, and Robert Smith. Oh, the second time through the rotation now. Again, here's Barry Asher.
Watch Barry now. He's just setting his feet now, just getting ready. Still moving, putting his hand on the ball. He never does set his feet. Barry had problems in the past getting started on the approach. So instead of getting set and trying to start from a static position, he just keeps moving, and that way he can get to the foul line and still be real smooth. Barry, always a fine player.
Almost like a waggle in golf, isn't it?
Exactly, but he never stops. He's always moving. You see that? He just walked right into the spare shot. And he's always been an excellent spare shooter. Barry, one of the finer wrist players to ever play the game.
Here's the Contour Power Grip Team Dinothane lineup. Hulsenberg, Worrell, Di Benedetto, Connors, and Bowles. Now Guy Hulsenberg. So far, Team Dinothane has gone strike, spare, strike, spare, strike.
Chance to take the lead here early on in this 2-game total pin Baker system match. Oh my, we've seen that happen a couple of times. Timmy Mack had the same thing, remember? Players are getting the ball in a little late on the head pin, a little late in the pocket area as it enters. It's down the lane. Watch the release here. Good one, good end over end roll, but the ball just never does get that good back end to it, and that's when you get this kind of a happening. The ball has plenty of hit, but it doesn't enter at a good angle to strike.
Easily hitting the 7-pin, and a 7-pin lead for Asher's Embroidery. Remember, it's a 2-game total pin match. And by the way, high score bonus brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. Both teams eligible to receive a $500 bonus for each TV game of 240 or better, or 2-game TV Baker Series of 450 or better. Two solid balls, solid. I mean, right there for Billy Myers Jr. There's that high roller TV high score bonus. So a chance really to pick up $1,000 in one game, and then another $500 bonus for the series.
Yeah, if you win the first match and go on and do it again, you can pick up a couple $1,000 extra prize money. Not a bad day.
Solid shot here. Bob Worrell with a nice strike to keep pace. Ken Knapp, the ABC National Director, on hand, and of course Troy Cole also on hand from Orange County Bowlers Association. He's the secretary. What a great turnout this weekend here, spectators and bowlers.
And without volunteers, none of this could happen. And you know, that's why we need the people, especially the ABC reps, the directors, to come out and join hands with us to make the World Team Challenge a success again.
They're warming up now, aren't they, Earl?
Well, we knew we were going to get some good scores, just whether or not the guys were going to be relaxed enough in this opening game to make it happen, and it looks like they are. They're making good shots. It's just a matter of carrying the corner pins. If a couple of 7 pins had gone down for the right-handers, we could have seen some 4-baggers, 3-baggers, things, you know, and it could yet happen. Great game here. Nice, smooth approach. Stylist. Good arm swing, good balance at the foul line. All the key ingredients to making good shots.
There it is. Oh, yes.
I'll tell you what, those Brunswick pins down there are good pins. They're brand new. They got great bottoms on them. So this is a good break here to get this kind of a rotation on the head pin to get it all the way back over to get the 10 out. Here's a look at the game of Leo. As you see, the good high backswing creates the ball speed he needs, but he's flexible enough to handle that. And look at the good balance, the shoulders over the knee, good heavy end over end rotation on this particular shot. And you see the head pin coming all the way back across, and he's saying, come on, give me the break, and there it went.
Again, staying pure, Team Devaney. No open frames for either club, and a 17-pin lead for Asher's Embroidery.
Timmy Mack, we've seen him many times in the past on the World Team Challenge Championship round, and he has been exceptional. He's always been a very dynamic player, kind of exciting guy to watch, and I always get a kick out of Timmy because he's always got a good sense of humor, but when he gets on the approach, boy, he's out there to kill you. That's that Penn State football attitude.
You bet. Mixing them around, but can't get the 7 to go down.
And he's a little upset right now. He's talking to himself, and he's talking to the pins and the bowling balls. And here's another look at it. Watch the head pin go to the wall, come back out, and it gets tangled up with the 4-pin there and doesn't get to the 7. Just bad luck. He had the 5-pin going one way, the head pin going the other, and the 4-pin got between them.
You get the sense that Timmy Mack would like to turn bowling into a contact sport.
He would like to, yeah. Timmy, full contact bowling would be right up Tim's lane. He'd like that.
Spare for Tim Mack.
Very quickly, let me fill you in on the format. If you've not watched the World Team Challenge before, and you have, well, maybe I can refresh your memory. We have how many teams this week, Dave?
62.
62. They all bowled 6 qualifying games, which are regular team games. Based on total pins, they entered match play. The top 10 teams went into Baker System match play, and they bowled 10 2-game Baker System matches with bonus pins. If you win a game, you get 15 bonus pins. If you win total pins for the 2 games, you get 20 more bonus pins, a possible 50 altogether. The top 3 teams with pinfall that is carried over, plus their bonus pins you see here in the championship round.
And you see some high games as Team Devaney Club with an 1150 total. Asher's Embroidery right behind. No secret to how they finished number 2 and 3. Robbie Callan bowled a fine 296 this weekend. And so far the high game this year in the World Team Challenge.
And if you take a look at the qualifying scores this week, there were only 7 teams that averaged 200 or better. So these are outstanding individual scores and some great team games, but it was crossing lanes that tended to get the players in trouble. Every pair just slightly different, not necessarily on purpose, but just how it worked out. And it makes it a little tough to adjust pair to pair.
That's a powerful shot right there.
Well, he lost his balance, got away with one there. He definitely got out of time at the foul line. You'll see him, watch him slip here, loses balance, almost goes over the foul line. Still has plenty on the ball to get it to carry the pins, but he feels pretty fortunate he didn't foul. He's looking down. Watch him look down now. That's, oh boy, it carried, but what happened? Did I stick? Did I slip? I think he just got a little out of time there, and every pin is big in this 2-game Baker match. He really wants this one now. He's got an opportunity to get a double.
There's the double, and now a 226 possible for Asher's Embroidery.
Well, now we know why he's bowling anchor, right? But Billy Myers looks pretty good in that position too. Bowling second, he bowled anchor during their match play portion of the tournament and did quite well. They moved him up to second, figuring maybe the right side, left side might be a little tough today. But Billy looks pretty good.
Yeah, 2 strikes for Billy. It's nice when you're all working, right?
Mm-hmm. You got to say one good thing about Barry Asher, other than that he's a great talent and a good guy. He knows how to pick some guys to bowl with, doesn't he?
I should say so. Hey, it's all part of recruiting. Joe Paterno would tell you that.
There you go.
And now Dave Bowles trying to keep Team Dinothane close here in game 1.
Well, what we've got going here in this opening game of this 2-game match is something very unusual. 2 completely clean games, not an open for either team. Not easy to do in the Baker system format.
A 209 possible if Dave Bowles can finish out here with 2 more strikes.
2 well-played games. Both teams could have carried better, and it would have been a lot more, maybe a much more high-scoring match. Here's a look at Butch and Sherry Whitman.
Well, last night they celebrated their 34th wedding anniversary.
Really? Butch lied to me. He told me he was only about 35 years old.
Well, that's going to cost him quite a bit of pin count here.
Middle of the head pin. He leaves a whole bunch of them down there. Looks kind of like grandma's teeth, doesn't it?
3, 4, 6, 7.
He can get a chance to show off here. He can slide that 3-pin across into the 4-7 and get the crowd all excited here. He's got a chance.
Well, a 197 finish for Team Dinothane. So as we head into the second game, a 29-pin lead for Asher's Embroidery. Joining us now is Chuck Mills, the president and founder of Burn Care Medical Products. Chuck, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
Oh, it's great to be here. We at Burn Care are proud to be sponsors of the ABC Bowling tournament that's going on here, and it's an exciting tournament. And our product is, as you know, is for burns and topical anesthetic for any kind of abrasions or cuts that you may have, and we're just glad to be a part of this this whole tournament.
How did you begin the company?
Well, about 10 years ago, I burnt myself real severely with a welding accident, and I went to the pharmacy to try to get something for a burn to stop the pain, and unfortunately there wasn't anything at that time, and there still isn't until now, anything that stop the pain of a burn. So that basically enticed me to start this company and make a product that would stop the burn and the pain.
And now you've expanded into the baby products. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have. We took a line of baby care products called Baby Care, which was distributed nationally since 1971. In over 10,000 hospitals in the United States, and we repackaged it and put it in, thickened it and put aloe vera in it and some antibacterial soaps and some of the baby baths, and improved the product and put it in a new convenient container.
Chuck, again, thanks for being with us today. We hope to see you again in the future.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Here's Guy Hulsenberg. Boy, these guys are both teams doing so well. And no pressure now for Barry Asher, because he wants to make sure that his team can keep up this 29-pin lead they hold going into game 2. That's a pretty good way to do it.
Excellent shot there from Barry Asher. Both these teams really lined up well, and as I mentioned earlier, here's another look at Barry Asher playing between the second and third arrow. Gets plenty of side turn on this one, and a lot of heavy roll. Barry's very happy with that. But both teams, if they had carried in that first game, we would have had some big scores. Maybe they will this game. They're both hitting the pocket extremely well. It's a matter of getting those corner pins out, and there's another one, the 10-pin, the weak 10 this time. A lot of spin on that shot. Didn't really go into much of a roll on the back end, and so it didn't have enough hit to carry the 10. But sometimes the only way you can get the ball to the pocket is to spin it, because it wants to hook early otherwise. Cross lane now for the 10-pin. Very unusual. A lot of guys, almost everybody I know, puts their fingers in the ball and then lays their thumb in so they can get a clean release. You saw him putting his thumb in first and then spinning the ball around on it so he can get a good feel so he doesn't lose the ball. Some guys will do that so they don't get any lift on the ball. They put the thumb in first, then the fingers, and then they don't get any lift. You put your fingers in first and then your thumb if you want a clean release and a good roll.
Billy Myers Jr. 2 strikes so far for Billy. Oh, and almost had a third.
And another good shot from Billy, too. Great shot. Solid 7. Here's another look at it. Billy playing between the second and third arrow on the left side, giving the ball a lot of room, getting it out around that 7 board, and that was really an outstanding shot. No reason for anything to stand up there. Billy cross lane, a lot of ball speed here.
He got it. Let's take a look at some other finishers here in the Brunswick World Team Challenge in Orange, California. The defending champions this year finished 4th. Brash Pro Shop. Ransom Soulwear from La Mesa finished in 5th place. In 6th, Contour. We'll look at some of the other finishers. Again, a 29-pin lead here for Asher's Embroidery. We're in game 2 of this 2-game match.
This young man's had a lot of good help. Somebody's really taught him some good fundamentals because he knows how to get to that foul line extremely well. Another look at his ball as it rotates up into the pocket. Well, watch the power here. The 5-pin takes out the 7. He knows it's a good shot, and he's running it out, and his reaction is, take that.
I would think, Earl, that having great form like Leo has, that would really make him much better under pressure later on in his pro career.
I agree, Dave, because if you have good fundamentals, you don't have to think about it. You just let it happen, and you get to the foul line with balance, and obviously that's what it's all about. You have to be balanced in any sport to make good shots. Ooh. 4 pins right out of the middle of the rack. This doesn't happen very often, but it does happen with reactive resin balls. Here's another look at it, right through the middle of the head pin, and it gets the 1, 2, 7, 8.
So he's got the 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10 to go.
Just about everything else, yeah. The idea here is get the ball between the 3 and the 6. The ball will take out the 9, but you want that 3-pin to go out and take out the 4, 7.
That really hurting pin count, too, because I came on a spare.
Got a chance. Oh, good try. Look at this. Almost out of the pit.
So an open frame, the first one for either team. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, an open frame there for Asher's Embroidery, really giving some hope now to Team Dinothane. They trail by just a dozen.
And strike here, and we've got basically an even match.
Be just down to 2.
Good shot. Got to get lucky. Oh, boy. He liked it. I liked it. It looked like it was going to be an excellent shot. Right at the end, the ball just rolled up a little high in the head pin, and it overhit for him. It actually hit a little bit too hard, cut through the middle of the head pin. The 4, 7, 10. Opportunity knocked, and he couldn't open the door. Unfortunately for them. And they're running out of frames. Only 6 frames to play in this opening match.
So he's got to go for it.
Got to go for it. Good players like this, in this situation, they always go for this. They know they can make it.
Nice try.
You have to believe you can make it, or you shouldn't be out there playing.
So an open frame for Team Dinothane. They give the advantage right back to Tim Mack and Asher's Embroidery.
Tim Mack taking a lot of time here. I talked to him before he went out to play, and he said, I'm having a lot of problems with my hand, the perspiration on my hand, and I tend to drop the ball or lose it off my hand. So he's trying to get it really dry. He wants his hand as dry as he can get it before he puts it in the ball.
He was talking about, after the match play competition, going out to the store and buying a portable fan.
He looked and looked, couldn't find one. I talked to him about that also. He said, but he couldn't find one. And he's just trying to get it. He wanted to be able to sit on the bench with one of those little battery-operated fans blowing on his hand to keep it dry. Timmy's made 3 great shots in this match and yet to strike. Look out. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Almost missed the 7, and that time almost missed the 10. We are at the Regal Lanes in Orange, California, the Brunswick World Team Challenge. We're in game 2 of our 2-game semifinal match between Asher's Embroidery and Team Dinothane. Asher's with a 26-pin lead. Crossing over.
Well, not a good shot at all there. Didn't get to the foul line very well. Lost the ball off his hand. The ball never had a chance. It was going to the middle of the head pin when it left his hand. Not a hard spare here. The 9-10, it's just a little fit between the 2 pins, and he shouldn't have any problem with this. He'll try to get both pins with the ball. You know, I made that sound easier than it really is. At 60 feet away, or a little over 60 feet, that's a pretty fine shot. You know, you're looking at hitting something that's about a half an inch wide. That's an outstanding shot. But for a player of this caliber, is what I meant, it's not that difficult.
Robert Smith, 26-pin advantage. Remember, he struck out in game 1 to really open the gap here. He strikes again.
He combines two things. He combines the power game that you see with all the revolutions and the ability to hook the ball like Tim Mack, and he does. And he also combines that with the ability to get the ball well down the lane like a stroker would. So he delays the break point, doesn't open up the lane quite as much as some of the other crankers or the guys that really twist it. He gets the ball down the lane 50 feet on a line, which is a much better entry angle.
There's a strike, last rotation through.
Well, Dynathane's not going to quit. That's pretty obvious.
There's Marcy. She's been in every women's event in the women's team challenge.
And she's finished, her team that she's been on have finished second 5 times. So Marcy, she's tired. She's tired of finishing second is what she really is.
Barry Asher with the strike.
Big shot from the big guy, the captain, the 50-year-old.
So a double for Asher's embroidery. They've opened up the gap to 36.
You're a winner, and you deserve recognition. In sanctioned leagues and tournaments, 2 million awards are handed out each year by the national governing bodies of bowling, the American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance.
But your membership card entitles sanctioned league bowlers to more than the awards program.
There's more than $1 million each for college scholarships and veterans hospitals, bowlers supporting their communities.
Every member has a chance to compete in thousands of special events, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Sanctioned leagues also provide for the standardization of rules and supplies, plus league prize money is bonded.
Equipment testing and research helps advance the sport.
Your membership card does all that.
And every lane is inspected annually by local association volunteers. In short, everything runs smoother, and sanctioned leagues are a lot more fun.
So have more fun and help shape the future of bowling by making sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies, the ABC, WIBC, or YABA.
Welcome to Sam's Satellite City. May I help you?
I'm interested in DBS.
Direct broadcast satellite. You'll need a dish, a receiver, decoder, some converters, connectors, various and sundry electronic components.
I need all this.
This'll get you started. Say, how many TVs do you have?
3.
Well then, you're just gonna need a few more things, aren't you? There you go. Of course, this doesn't include your monthly subscription fees.
That costs extra?
And if you still want to watch local network programming, you'll also need a regular antenna. We have an excellent selection of regular antennas.
If there's an outdoor enthusiast or collector on your holiday shopping list, head for RFG Safe & Knife. We carry the largest selection of safes, knives, and guns in the Midwest. That means great selection and great prices. And since we're also reducing our inventory, you save even more with clearance pricing. Can't decide what to buy? Gift certificates are a great choice and a great bargain. Here's the deal. Whatever gift certificate amount you purchase, we'll add $5 to that amount. That's $5 free. Great selection, top brands, and the best prices of the year at RFG Safe & Knife.
Welcome back to Regal Lanes in Orange, California. We're in the 9th frame now. We rolled through a couple of frames. And while we were rolling through, Asher's embroidery just widened the gap to 57 pins.
And you know, I'll tell you what, Tim Mack looked back at us just a moment ago, Dave, and he says, hey, we're going for the $500 bonus here on the next shot. It's a $500 ball. And that's what he's thinking. Because if they do what, David?
They need to have a 450 series. They have a chance at that. Still, they had a 226 in game 1.
And right now they're going at a 213 pace, and a strike would put them in the 220s, which would put them over that.
There's Diane Brash, so helpful to us this week in lining up many teams to compete in the Brunswick World Team Stop.
And here's Tim Mack with that $500 ball right here. That's what he's thinking.
How's that coming through in the clutch?
First strike he's got today, and it's that's the 4th time he's thrown a good shot. The first one he's carried, and it's the one he wanted the most. They still have an opportunity for the other $500 for the 240 game if they strike out in the 10th.
Could be a $1,000 game for them.
Could be, but 2 strikes in the 10th. gets them the $1,000. 500 for the game, 500 for the series from the high roller people. Pretty generous of them, I'd say, huh?
I would say so. Of course, that comes right off the top of your fee.
Well, that's probably, well, that'll put me in debt. I don't get paid that much. So.
A little bit of pressure on Robert Smith. This is Dave Bowles. Smith needs 1 strike to get 1 bonus. 2 strikes would give him both bonuses.
Well, they have the 450 bonus locked up because they're already going at a 220 pace. No, they don't either. That's right. They got to get the 450. I'm thinking, and that's 440. You're right. They need the first strike for that. Exactly. My mistake. Peter Hagan is telling me I'm wrong, and he's right. Oh, I make him all the time. You just don't bring him up to me. See, you're just a nice guy. That's why. Thank you, Peter. I apologize.
All right, a 178 finish for Team Dinothane. The game kind of came to the end. You really look back at that 4th frame when they had that split with a chance to get back in the match right there.
Well, here's Robert Smith. Yeah, $500 ball here. Oh yeah, got it. And for another 500, he gets to do it again. That's kind of like bonus day, huh?
Barry Asher looking out, saying 1 more. 1 more.
You can just see the confidence in this young man's face. He just exudes confidence. Look at his eyes. There's nothing to worry about here, folks. I can handle this. Piece of cake.
That was solid. Oh, how good was that?
Nothing to this game.
Oh, man. Now he needs 7 pins for the double bonus.
Another look at that shot. Going over the 4th arrow at the arrows, out to about the 8-9 board. He knows it's there. Just will it strike. The extra $200 a man, that's kind of makes it nice.
And they're going to move on into the championship finals. Well, they'll face Team Brunswick. There it is. Boy, what an afternoon he's having so far. 10 strikes out of a possible 11 frames. We'll be back with Around the Bowling World in just a moment. Asher's Embroidery moves on to the finals.
Now it's time to go around the bowling world. Brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. The Young American Bowling Alliance, bowling service organization for youth bowlers, recently named Jim Zebahazy as its new executive director. Zebahazy will manage YABA's daily activities and implement programs for the youth organization's 485,000 members, 35,000 adult volunteers, and 1,700 local associations. The Waterford, Wisconsin resident started his bowling career back in 1983 as a field representative for the American Bowling Congress. The American Bowling Congress, the Women's International Bowling Congress, and the Young American Bowling Alliance combined to serve over 4.6 million members during the 1995-96 season. The ABC led the way with over 2.2 million members. The ABC and WIBC certified 7,182 bowling centers with over 141,000 lanes worldwide. The overall totals included the construction of 47 new centers with 868 new lanes. New York remained the leading state with 510 centers and over 10,000 lanes. At age 40, John Shotko Jr. is rewriting the bowling encyclopedia. The Larksville, Pennsylvania resident recently tossed his 29th career 800 series, breaking the old record of 28 he shared with Jerry Kessler of Englewood, Ohio. On February 8th, the doors to the Von Braun Civic Center in Huntsville, Alabama will open to host the 94th Annual American Bowling Congress Tournament. The entry deadline is January 2nd, 1997. Cincinnati, Ohio's Don Scudder is looking to extend his hot ABC run. Scudder picked up a pair of titles last year in Salt Lake City in singles with an 823 series and a second eagle for the team all events, his Pollard's Bowl team with a record-breaking score of 10,425. Scudder is also a frequent visitor to the Brunswick World Team Challenge circuit, recently finishing third with his Hawthorne Lanes team at Boulevard Lanes in Madison, Wisconsin. The Women's International Bowling Congress is preparing for its 78th national tournament at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada, starting on March 2nd, 1997. Registration deadline is December 13th. Competition in both tournaments is in team, doubles, singles, and all events. For information on how to enter either one of these exciting national competitions, please call 1-800-211-1358. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 1-800-257-6179 for information on how to enter. The Brunswick World Team Challenge from Regal Lanes in Orange, California returns with our championship match after these messages.
Brunswick World Team Challenge in Regal Lanes in Orange, California, brought to you in part by Burn Care Medical Products. 1-888-58-HELP, the number to call, and they have a special for bowlers. Give them a call for all of your burn care necessities. Time now for our championship match featuring Team Brunswick, the top seed, against Asher's Embroidery. Asher's Embroidery closing strong, Earl, with 8 strikes in a row in the semifinal match, and they finished with a strong 469 series.
Outstanding bowling by a team that led this tournament almost from the, well, actually from the first game of qualifying until the 8th position round. Then Team Brunswick took over. And since then, it's been Team Brunswick because of their ability to knock them down in match play and win matches. They were 9-1. The tournament leaders were 9-1 in match play. Outstanding in the Baker system.
Barry Asher barely waits for the pin to be reset before he's ready to go again. Don't worry about the shot clock with him.
Like I say, Barry doesn't want to get set because he has trouble getting started, so he likes to keep moving, and that works. That's what works for him. Actually, it's a pretty good way to bowl because you create a better rhythm if you keep moving.
Doug Wilcox to lead off for Team Brunswick.
This is a very young team. The oldest player on the team, their anchorman, Danny Wiseman, at the age of 29.
Solid shot, though, for Wilcox. The Contour Power Group starting lineup for Team Brunswick. You just saw Wilcox. He'll be followed by Jason Milligan, Steve Swearinger, Robbie Callan, and then the anchor, Danny Wiseman. Speaking of young, good bowlers, here's Billy Myers Jr.
Plenty of room on this shot, and maybe a little too much. Got a big break there.
I just kept falling. Was that perhaps an overreaction to crossing over in his last ball?
Very likely was. It's typical of a bowler to make that kind of adjustment without even realizing they're doing it. And there's another look at that shot. You can see the head pin is the one that creates all the good things that happen for Billy Myers on that shot. Knocking out the 3, the 6, and the 9.
Spare start for Asher's Embroidery. Jason Milligan trying to double up.
And they just keep getting younger. He's only 21 years old. So experience, players that have been on the PBA tour and been successful, Hall of Famer like Barry Asher, against youth.
That one never had a chance.
Well, he's nervous. You can see that by his actions. He's moving very quickly. Just needs to get in a frame or two, and he'll be all right. Just get used to that television camera following him to the foul line. Take a deep breath and relax. Right now, his heart's probably pounding at about 140 beats a minute.
Earl, when you would bowl someone head-to-head, would you take note of their nervousness?
I tried to just not even pay attention. I worried about myself more. You know, you've got to concentrate on your own game and try to make the good shots that you think you're capable of making.
Ooh.
Well, major mistake there, but it's early in the match. The advantage is very obvious with Barry Asher's team, the Asher Embroidery team, because of their age, their experience, and the fact that they won the previous match. So they're acclimated to bowling here in front of the television cameras and this large audience we have here at Regal Lane. So they're very comfortable. It's going to take a few frames for the young kids to get loose and get to feeling like they can compete. They did so well in the match play. They just need to get relaxed, and that's not easy to do in the first few frames.
That was solid. Those kids bowled well, Mike Devaney. course, who hasn't bowled well for Asher's Embroidery.
And here we have another left-hander, Steve Swanger. He's a lefty that if anybody's going to hit the pocket early on in this team, it should be him, because he's capable of making the real good shots when he has to. And that was a little light, but he got away with it. Left 3-pin, and it went.
Mixed him around. They really needed that after an open frame. So strike, open, strike start for Team Brunswick.
Has a bee sting or bug bite or sunburn ever ruined a family vacation or picnic? Has your child ever scraped an elbow? How many times have you burned yourself in or around your home? Now, Burn Care First Aid Lotion stops pain instantly, guaranteed. Keep Burn Care at home, work, or in the car for when you need instant relief for burns, scrapes, or other skin irritations. To order 2 4-ounce tubes of Burn Care for just $19.95, call the new toll-free number 1-888-58-HEALTH.
Looking for more strikes and more bowling fun? Then look no further than Going for the Gold with Team USA coach Fred Borden. As today's top instructor, Coach Borden will show you ways to reach your full potential. Professional bowlers Mike Albee and Leila Wagner work with Coach Borden to show you the sure way to higher scores. This 12-lesson video is available for only $24.95.
This summer, you saw the women's dream team. Now see what the future has in store. The Women's Basketball Show College Game of the Week. 9 top 10 teams. 7 of last year's final 8. Welcome to the showcase. The Women's Basketball Show College Game of the Week. Sundays starting December 1st.
We head to the 4th frame. This is Timmy Mack. Can he knock it out? No. Well, we've seen so many times here today, Earl, a possibility of the 7-10, and now we finally get one.
The wall shot, and all it does, the head pin just comes off the wall so quickly. Watch the head pin. That's in the front. See how hard it's flying? And the 5-pin goes over, and again, it's the 4-pin that creates all the problems. The 5-pin going one way, the head pin coming the other, and the 4-pin gets in between. Otherwise, the 7 would have been gone, and maybe even the 10.
In competition, how many times have you made this?
Twice. And both times it was just luck. I never could throw the ball hard enough to bounce it out of the pit, so I never made that kind of an attempt at it. I just threw it down there, and a couple times it hit the ball and bounced over. Just lucky.
Robbie Callan. This match kind of seesawing back and forth here in the early going.
Callan, only 23 years old, but with a lot of experience. He's qualified for Team USA National as far as the finalists are concerned. So he knows how to play the game. He's been around a while. Remember, these guys are all young, but they're very capable.
That's a double for Team Brunswick, and they take the lead. You see, look at that. You talked about it in the open. Team Brunswick with a 215, almost 216 average in Baker. That's unbelievable.
That's outstanding, just outstanding. And you can see their one-loss record was also outstanding.
And you see them make the move from 4th all the way up to the top seed. Asher's Embroidery always in the television situation, starting off 1st and then dropping to 2nd just in the later stages. Here's a guy who's been just dead solid perfect until then.
And that is a herder, folks, I'm telling you. Not just because of what it does right here in the 5th frame. Remember, we're 2 games, total pins. It's early on in this 2-game match, so there's a lot of room left. But what it does is to Mr. Smith to say, hey, the lanes have changed a little bit. I thought I made a pretty good shot there. What happened? Now he's going to have a little problem getting lined up maybe in the 10th frame. And he's been the guy that's made it happen for him in the 10th frame.
He had 7 strikes in a row until that open frame. 7 out of 8 possible strikes for Robert Smith, now 7 out of 9. And a chance to go for the turkey a little bit early with Thanksgiving coming up. Danny Wiseman. There's Kathy O'Keefe, the manager here at Regal Lanes. We want to thank her and her staff for all their wonderful cooperation.
Danny, another stylish type player, good solid game at the foul line, gets through the ball extremely well, and he's been very successful on the PBA National Tour with 6 wins out there, plus 3 regional titles. So he's been very successful. He's just a young guy himself at 29, but he's by far the oldest player on the team.
This could be like a cast from Friends, this team. So a spare for Danny Wiseman in the 5th. And they now lead by 22. So Barry Asher, let's see their resilience as they have to come from behind for the first time here today.
Kind of nice to have somebody hand you a ball that's like that. I mean, you know, you got a guy back there, Timmy Mack's playing ball boy.
And a caddy.
Yeah.
Solid on the 7-pin. So a spare, but Asher wanted more. All of a sudden, things have gotten very quiet here at
Yes,
Regal.
they have. Well, the local favorites, you might say, are the Asher embroidery team with most of their players from this area. And, you know, so the crowd's kind of behind them. And now they can see that this young team isn't going to fold, and they're going to give Asher's team all they can handle. So this should be a great championship match.
Ooh, solid shot from Wilcox.
Outstanding shot there from Doug Wilcox. Just unlucky to leave the solid 10-pin. Now to look at it, you can see he's playing right around that 22 board, right inside the 4th arrow, and the ball just looks really good at this point. Maybe just a little light in the pocket, but he's going to carry 9 out of 10 of those. That's a good shot. Cross lane now for the spare. Careful.
Uh-oh. Oh, my.
Well, those are the kind of mistakes that can cost you a championship.
So an open frame, disappointing for Team Brunswick, but they still have a lead, a 10-pin lead over Asher's embroidery. We've got a great final match going on. Team Brunswick hanging on to their 10-pin lead as we head now to the 9th frame. You can see in the 7th and 8th, each team with a strike spare or spare strike. Tim Mack working on a spare, and that sets up the 10th frame.
And you can see how aggressive Tim is at the foul line. I mean, he just gets it all when he lets go of the ball. Nothing left behind. Tremendous power on the ball. That's all roll. No side turn. Just pure forward, heavy roll. And his reaction is, hey, don't come in my part of the ball field, boys. I'll knock you down. It's that linebacker attitude there.
I was asking some of the folks before our broadcast if they missed the NFL here in Los Angeles. Tim Mack said, I missed the NFL. I should be playing in it.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a few breaks here for the young kids over here. Team Brunswick, they've made some shots that could have been trouble, got away with them, getting good pin count. And those are the key things. Stay filling those frames. Those easy spares. If they can get through this first game and keep it close, they've got a good chance for the championship. They can't afford to make any major mistakes. And it looks like they're just hanging right in there pretty good, David.
Glance at the scoreboard as we head to the 10th frame. Asher's embroidery set up well with that strike in the 9th.
And remember last time up, Bob Smith got up there and went through the middle of the head pin. It's almost always happens. You give it a little more room automatically. He gave it plenty. Got it back. Great shot.
That ties it up. A chance to take the lead.
He's been so good in the 10th. Just been phenomenal.
He struck out in both games in the 10th frame in the semifinal match. Ooh, he gave that one a lot of room too. Is it mixed around? Nope. I think we're going to be close to tied as we go into that final game of this match.
Danny Wiseman is the anchor bowler for Team Brunswick, and he's a good one. And I expect Danny to make a couple of good shots in the 10th, so it should be fairly even, or maybe even a 10-pin lead for Team Brunswick, something in that neighborhood. Should be a great closing game, this 2-game total pin match, though.
184. That's the finish for Asher's Embroidery. If Danny Wiseman strikes out, a 195 possible.
This is the key shot. He wants to at least make sure they go into the second game even or better. Doesn't want to give anything away. Outstanding shot from Danny, and solid 10. Danny has a few unkind words for the 10-pin.
Well, this sets it up for a possible tie going into that final match. A spare here followed by a strike, and we would be tied.
Well, remember what happened at our last event. We had that 2-frame roll-off with the championship match was a tie after regulation time, regulation frames.
That was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're all glued to our television sets watching the exciting conclusion to that one.
All right, for the tie, and then we start over, you might say.
Looking a little bit light. Well, 1-pin advantage for Asher's Embroidery as we go to game 2. It's still anybody's match for the championship. We'll take a look at some of the other finishers. In 7th, it was Dynothane XTC out of Las Vegas. In 8th, Contour Power Grips, the big dogs, and boy, they are big.
They are big.
From Sacramento.
Steve Cook.
In 9th place, Albin's Bowling Supply out of Torrance. And in 10th, Fountain Bowl out of Fountain Valley, California. More of our championship in just a moment. We welcome you back to Regal Lane. Still anybody's match. Just 1 pin separating the two as we head to game 2. Doug Wilcox to lead off for Team Brunswick. They trail by 1.
Not a bad opening shot there, Dave, leaving only the 7-pin, a pretty easy spare. They should be able to fill the frame, and I expect this team to do a little better this second game. They should be a little more relaxed. They've gone through 1 game in front of the television camera and this big audience here at Regal Lane, so they should be a little more relaxed and not make some of the mistakes they made in that opening game. And I feel they're fortunate that Asher's didn't jump on them.
Especially the way Asher's exploded in game 2 of their semifinal match. So a spare to begin this final game, and now Barry Asher.
Barry always moving, never really settles because he wants to keep moving.
Mixes him around for the strike. I get the sense that one of these two teams is going to break loose here in this second game.
Yeah, and you'd have to think that Asher's Embroidery team, with their experience and their ability, that you'd think that they would be the one that would get it going, especially since they did so well in that opening match on this lane, especially. Remember, this is where they struck out with that 8 in a row.
That's right.
This young man has to loosen up a little bit. Just relax, let things happen. Don't try to force it. It'll be all right.
He's lost right now. I mean,
well, they're a little confused, and that again comes back to how much experience have you had moving from lane to lane and adjusting to varying lane conditions, because the lanes will change as they bowl on them. As the players bowl, they move that dressing around with the bowling balls, so the lanes will change and the ball reaction changes, and the players with experience make the best adjustments.
How do you make those adjustments, Earl? I mean, do you anticipate the oil starting to move?
You just make good guesses. No, I'm just kidding, Dave. No, you do. You learn from experience what happens and how you can get the ball to react based on where the oil pattern is. You watch the ball go down the lane, and by how it reacts, you make an adjustment. And that adjustment is based on where the ball makes its break point. If the break point's too late, you square everything up. If it's too early, then you try to open up a little bit. Or you change ball speed, or you change release, or you change bowling ball. And there's the options are go on forever.
The key is to figuring out that the adjustment needs to be made.
And whoever does it the fastest and the best usually wins.
Well, that's now giving Asher's Embroidery a little bit of a cushion. And interestingly, it was Billy Myers Jr. who really got the rally going for Asher's Embroidery early on.
Do you think he's into this, Dave? What do you think?
I think he is.
I think he's in there emotionally. Yeah, I'd say the young Mr. Myers is definitely into this.
I think back to the 7th frame of the first game when he struck with his team trailing by 22 at that point. How about that for a break?
Now there is a major break, and that's the kind of break you need to get your team going. Here's take another look at this. Watch what happens to the head pin. It goes all the way to the wall, comes back and kicks, I don't know what pin, over into it, but just enough. Those Brunswick pins don't usually fall that easy. These are tournament grade, the best you can get, and these guys are making them hurt a little bit. Every shot crucial now. A chance for Ashers to really put some hurt on Brunswick.
Through the head pin.
Got a break there. Through the middle of the head pin. Only the 610. Spares are very crucial. You don't expect anybody to throw 8 in a row like Ashers did in that second game of that opening match, but you do expect to see 2 or 3 in a row. But what's going to make one of these teams the winner of this tournament is who covers their spares, fills the frames.
Robbie Callan now up for Team Brunswick. You can see Ashers leading by a dozen.
Robbie's the kind of guy you need to make a good shot now. They're on a strike. They need him to strike here, set it up for Danny Wiseman for the 3 in a row. And 3 in a row is big right now.
Good shot, yeah.
That's the power that you get out of that tremendous wrist rotation he gets on the ball. And he cups that wrist and stays through the middle of the ball, and that's what creates that power and that strength to get those pins dancing. Here's another look. See how he's got the ball cupped? He's underneath the ball with his wrist. That's what creates all that power and rotation.
Now Tim Mack, he hasn't missed the pocket yet. Still hasn't. And just like the shot we just saw from Robbie Callan. Tim Mack saying, all right, you can do it, so can I. There is Chuck Mills with his wife and daughter. Chuck, of course, the owner, president, founder of Burn Care Medical Products, our sponsor here this week in Los Angeles.
We might have to borrow some of his product to put out the fire on the lanes the way these guys are going here. It's starting to look pretty good.
Asher's Embroidery with a 2-pin lead with that strike in the 4th. Now a chance for 3 in a row.
The ball just never made the corner, never made the turn back, and Danny a little confused. He thought he'd made a great shot. It looked good to me. Got plenty of rotation on the ball. The ball looked like it was at the break point. When it got to the break point where it should have turned in, it just kind of skidded a little bit, kept going.
And what's he doing here?
He's putting a little tape in the thumb hole. He evidently feels that he was losing the ball a little bit. In other words, falling off his thumb a little sooner than he wanted it to. This gives him a little better grip on it, and he can relax his hand without trying to squeeze the ball to keep it on his hand. There, he's using that shot, the 5-pin, to line up for his next strike ball, which he knows could be the most important shots of the tournament for him in the 10th frame of the second game of this 2-game match.
Now Robert Smith, outside of that one terrible split, he's been just rock solid. And there it goes again. They're falling this time for Asher's Embroidery. A double now for Ashers, and they have expanded their lead to 13. So Ashers cranking it up a notch here in the final game of this championship match. Let's see if Team Brunswick can get up off the mat just a little bit. They trail by 13, working on a spare in the 6th frame. Again, this is Doug Wilcox.
They need someone early on, probably the guy that's bowling 3-8, the guy that's going to bowl the 8th frame, has to set it up for the last 2 guys. Now what happens in these 2 frames, unless Ashers can string out some strikes, doesn't really matter as long as they stay clean. But if they can get to that 3rd guy in the lineup, the guy bowling 3-8, That's the guy that they got to count on. Steve Swearinger has to make a good shot. Then they can set it up for Robbie Callan and bring it down to Danny Wiseman, and hopefully that'll be enough. That's what has to be going through their mind. Stay clean and get it to the 3 guys in the bottom that can do the work for us. There they are.
Oh, it didn't get there.
Well, see, that's the killer. That's twice now he's done that, and those are just going to kill you. You can't afford to do that, especially against a strong team like Asher's, who's already on a roll. This is the kind of mistake that just takes you completely out of it, not only physically but mentally, and his reaction, he knows, and he's very, very brokenhearted right now. There's no question.
Well, when you're young, you make young mistakes, and came up in the 6th frame of both games, and Barry Asher kind of pounded that nail in there. That's turkey now for Asher's embroidery.
Well, that's what happens right there. That's exactly what a top player does to you when you make a mistake. He makes it a bigger one for you. He emphasizes what you've done and takes advantage of it, and you can't, there's no defense for that. Barry Asher got up and did what he knew he had to do, and Asher's embroidery is on their way to winning this championship.
Kind of a fine mix, isn't it? I mean, you don't really pay much attention to your opponent, but when he makes a mistake, you notice that and you try to capitalize on it.
Exactly, and the winners do that. Winners always seem to capitalize on your mistakes. This team never really got going, this young team from Brunswick, but they've learned a lot today. And what they've learned is that we are good players. We're capable of being here. We deserve to be here, and we'll be back. And they will be back, and they'll be in this situation again, and they'll do better next time. You can count on that, because they've learned so much today of what it's like to be here and how to perform under this kind of pressure. And believe me, there is a lot of pressure. Television cameras, this huge live audience, and the fact that they're bowling against Hall of Famer Barry Asher, Rookie of the Year Billy Myers Jr. on the PBA Tour. Those kind of guys can put you in a position where you feel like this is more than I can handle, but they're going to learn from it.
I'll bet we see them in Vegas in January.
No question in my mind. They'll be back.
4-bagger? Yeah! They're looking for some more bonus money now.
It's looking that way, isn't it? Timmy Mack, very emotional player, very much into it. And there you can see Barry Asher's embroidery team. They're all pumped up. They're trying to look relaxed, but they're all pumped up.
Yeah, they just can't wait to get up there and bowl. Forget Asher's embroidery picked up $1,000 in bonus money in the first match. High score bonus brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. $500 bonus for a TV Baker game of $240.
Well, they could pick up another 1,000 here if they can get a few more strikes. They have room.
Even with their 184 in the first game.
Well, a possible 268 here. So this one will put them over that $500 bonus for 240 or better. Looking good. Oh, and the 10 pin.
Oh.
Well, they were all out there. Now they're not running them out because they're trying to beat up on this Brunswick team. They're running them out looking at that $500 bonus. Believe me, it's exactly why Timmy Mack and Barry Asher are jumping up on the approach. They're thinking, carry this one, and it's another $100 a man.
No chance now for a series bonus, but still a chance for the single game bonus.
Well, they're only a double away from that, and of course with Tim Mack coming up and Robert Smith, they've got a pretty good opportunity there. This is when you're in a situation the Brunswick team's in. You're just trying to kind of stay out of the way and make good shots, finish out the match with some poise and dignity.
Well, we have certainly enjoyed our weekend here in Orange, California. A beautiful facility here, Regal Lanes. If you're in the Southern California area, check it out. 72 lanes.
72 in a row. Outstanding facility. Great people working here. They did a great job with the tournament, and you know, we look forward to coming to this area, especially this time of year. Sunny Southern California.
Not bad.
Well, Tim Mack's thinking another $100 a man here. If I can get a strike and then Bobby can get up and get one, we're in good shape. tournament's over. They know they've won it. Now they're just thinking bonus money. And Timmy's been tough today.
I don't know what bothered him, but he'll start over.
Well, we got some young children back here playing, and one of them was running up their motor a little bit on their toy truck, I think. Did the right thing. Go back, reset, start over. Got it all.
Yeah, he did. Boy, this fiery competitiveness really underscoring what Asher's Embroidery has been able to do here this afternoon.
Well, we talked about how they led the event from the opening game of qualifying right on through and into the match play, and then they struggled a little bit in the last 3 matches of that match play, but here they are coming back and showing that they are champions. They know how to win. They've been here before, and they've done it before. And that's what these young guys are going to learn. They're going to learn how to be winners as they continue on. Danny Wiseman already knows how to be a winner. He's been there before, but he's got a very young ball club around him, and experience is a factor that cannot be bought. You have to earn it. Time, it takes time. They're learning.
And how old were you when you first went out on tour?
Oh, I was old enough to, I was an old man. I was 31 when I went on the tour. Yeah.
Now you're back out on the senior tour and watching the expertise of Earl Anthony out there. Bowling again.
Well, Danny Weissman's nice and relaxed now, getting a couple strikes here in the 10th, and they're going to shoot a 200 game here with 8 or better, which is very creditable and not a bad score when you consider that there was a lot of nerves involved with this young team.
And there it is, the 3-strike finish for a 202, 385 series for Team Brunswick. And this really kind of boils down for Asher's Embroidery to 1 shot for the $500 bonus. They already know they've won the match. A strike here would put them in the chips again.
Oh, and the solid 10. Oh, my. Well, he threw it as good as he could possibly throw it, and there's nothing to be ashamed of there, that's for sure. Outstanding ball.
Well, the match not in question, but trying to get a little greedy here.
Well, these guys are called amateurs, but they bowl for a living, basically, so you have to say there's professionals, and when you're a professional, you want to get paid when you go to work. They did quite well today, I'd say. The $1,000 bonus from the high roller people was kind of nice in the opening match, and then now to go on and win the championship and get that rings, the bowling balls, and all the good stuff that goes with it.
Plane tickets heading to the Grand Championships next summer. I think that was a little bit of an imitation of Barry Asher with the feet moving, and he just fired it down the lane and picks up 9 for a 236 finish. Asher's Embroidery, they advance to the Grand Championships. You want to get involved? Well, here are some upcoming events in Ogden, Utah, Hilltop Lanes, December 7th and 8th, then a little break for the holidays. We'll pick it up in Florida early January, then Las Vegas mid-January, and February we'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, also in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Tacoma, Washington, Earl's old stomping grounds, New Frontier Lanes, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, in late March at Bradley Bowl. Then we're heading to Belleville, Michigan, excuse me. And in April also in Eagan, Minnesota. In May we'll be in Norcross, Georgia. Always one of our favorite spots. You want to enter a team in the Brunswick World Team Challenge? Give our hotline a call. 414-423-3387. We'll come back to Regal Lanes in Orange, California to crown the champions in just a moment.
The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of Championship Ring Awards. By Bud Light. Make it a Bud Light. And by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies.
There they are, your champions, Asher's Embroidery. They advance to the Grand Championships. Barry Asher, team captain, congratulations.
Thank you. It was a real good week. The condition was challenging, as always, in a team challenge, and we got Timmy to fly out from New Jersey, which really helped. I mean, he's a big part of this team. We've won twice with him now, and I'd just like to thank Regal, Brunswick, Burn Care, right? Burn Care. Mm-hmm. And actually, I want to thank my opponent, Danny Wiseman, because he told me something that helped me bowling today. So it just shows what a professional that he is.
That is really something. Chuck Mills is here from Burn Care to present the trophy.
Yeah, I'd just like to present this to you guys on behalf of Burn Care Medical Products and the World Team Challenge. You guys pulled a great game, and good luck in the playoff championship game.
Barry, you really assembled a very fine team here. It's a good mix of youth and experience, and boy, obviously some competitiveness here.
And one old guy. Yeah, one old guy. Yeah, we don't lack for ego on our team. We really don't. And we do it. We bowl well together, and we've done it now actually 3 times. But now with Timmy on the team, he had a little more ego. And he adds that paterno mentality from Penn State, playing football there for 3 years, which has really been a spark to this team because, I mean, he just doesn't give up. I mean, if you watch him when we're bowling, he's handing us our spare balls.
Well, again, the Nittany Lions, go Barry Asher and Asher's Embroidery. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
The next World Team Challenge telecast is an open division event from Hilltop Lanes in Ogden, Utah. Check your regional sports network listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Dave Armstrong saying so long from Regal Lanes in Orange, California. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.